One of my favorite stamp sets from the mini catalog is the Painted Poppy series. I just love this. I have used it for so many things. The running poppies, as my friends in the Fenland Falls area have called it. I have used that for so many different cards. The poppies here that have the outline, they make fantastic cards. If you are going to do a kind of background, they turn out fantastic. Just love it. Really sharp looking images. This poppy here, the standing poppy, it is, I made a sympathy card with that, and it turned out beautiful. I just colored it in with watercolor pencils and added a little sympathy, embossed the paper on that. That comes with the, one of the free celebration items with the Power of Hope. It's at $120 of bonus. So if you reach 120, you can get the embossing folder and the Power of Hope stamp set with that, and just love this set too. The embossing folder turns out just lovely. Can you see the detail on that? It is just fantastic. So simple to use. The Painted Poppies, like I said, one of my absolute favorite. I have used it so much that all of my stamps are starting. You can see how much I use them. They're turning a little black, but that's okay. I love them. They are fantastic. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make this beautiful little, very, very simple poppy card using the running poppies here. And the little splotches that come with the Painted Poppies here, we will be using along. I will be showing you different colors because I made them with a different color. I did a Roco Rose with one. You could do it with crushed curry. I'm going to be making this one with Highland Heather. But what I noticed is with the Highland Heather, it is very dark when you stamp the very first time. So I'm going to show you how to make it a beautiful light color here. And so we're going to be using some of this beautiful DSP that comes with one of the sets, the poppy sets, and the dies down here. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut, some of our paper. We're going to cut our base card, and I've already cut it to 4.5. I just need to score it. 4.5 by 4 1/4 at 5.5. So now I just need to score it at 4 1/4. Okay. So I have the crease there. Now that we got the card base set, we're just going to set that aside. Now we need some of the Poppy DSP. On one side, it's beautiful color. This is a very lovely, lovely Blackberry Bliss. Fantastic color. Just love it too. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure that I cut the paper with the stripes going up and down. So I need to cut the paper at 4 1/4 so that it goes along across the length of the card. And I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. Okay, so we got the stripes going up and down, just like we got in the card there. And before I go on, I'm going to add some ribbon to this card before I forget, because I always have a bad habit of putting the paper down and then forgetting to add the ribbon. So we're going to use the crinkle seam binding ribbon. This ribbon is so easy to use. It is so light. You can color it with blends. Look at the little crinkle. It is fantastic. Oh, if you don't want that crinkle, just get a little iron, a hot, a little curling iron, and just kind of flatten it out. Pretty easy to use there. So we're going to make a bow on using the crinkle ribbon. Okay. And I have it still attached to the roll because I don't know how much I need, if I need more. So, and apparently I'm at the end of the roll. So look, I only need that much. So let's see. Maybe I should have checked that before I unrolled it. So I need that at least part to hide under my card, under my DSP. Oh, it happens. So I'm going to make my little bow. And I know it's going to go across. That's fantastic. I'm going to get a little bit of tape. I want my bow to go upwards. So come on. Go that way. Now I'm going to put it a little high up so I can leave room for the sentiment underneath. Put some tape there. I just find just using the tape is just way much easier. Okay. Put some tape. Cut off the excess. I don't want it to be all bulky when I put the card down. So now I have that part of the DSP done. I am going to set that aside. And now I am going to use, I have cut some Whisper white paper, and I have cut it at 4, so 4 across. Apparently I haven't cut it yet, so I'm going to cut it at 4 because I want to have a little bit of a frame around it. Make sure you're in the view. And it is at 3.5, and that's good. So 3.5 by 4. Let's double check that. And now we have a bit of a green frame around it. So I'm using Old Olive cardstock as my base. I forgot to mention that. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stamp the flowers onto the Whisper white. And I'm going to be using black. Okay. And you can see I've used this quite a bit. One of my favorite stamps. Oop, make sure it's well inked. Now, a few times I have done this and I've made them crooked. And I will endeavor to do this straight. I'm going to stamp on the card. Let's see how it turns out. Oh, good. It's straight. So, I'm so happy for that. Now, what comes in the poppy set are little splotches. So, I need to make, I'm going to add a little color on the bottom of these poppies using Pear Pizzazz and the tiny splotches. So there's Pear Pizzazz and I'm using the tiny splotches. And I'm just going to go across and just add a little bit. Now this will just peek out from the DSP just a little bit. Okay. Now, remember I mentioned to you about the Highland Heather being really dark. So what I'm going to do is I am going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp off on my paper because I don't want it really dark. And then I'm going to stamp once and it's really light, and then twice and it's really light. So I just wanted to add a little bit of color. I didn't want to overdo it like I did the first time because that looks a little bit more of a, I don't know, a flower accident there. So now I have this all nicely done. I'm going to start assembling my card. And I want to take my snail tape runner. Oh, I love this. This is the favorite part, other than the stamping. I'm going to add my glue, my adhesive. Going to add it on. Boop, boop, boop. Right there. And if I've measured this all right, it will all fit together. I always strongly suggest dry assembling it, which means kind of just laying it all out before you glue it down. And look at that, it works. I'm going to add a little bit of peaking on the bottom here so I can reach up to here. Oh, that actually looks very nice. Now for the next part, I want to add the sentiment in here, in this area here. And what I've come across, I've just discovered this. I just started using it. The detailed bands die. I am absolutely in love. Absolutely in love. I collect a lot of these little black containers because I find that when I go from my die set where I'm cutting, I can just drop everything in and nothing gets lost as I come walking along. So I'm going to put that aside. And I haven't pulled it completely out yet, but I'm going to work it out of the die. And there's a couple of pieces I have to poke out. It's actually kind of the relaxing part when you take your little tool and poke things out. Just sit in the quiet or listen to the music. Just kind of poke these things out. I don't know, I find it very strangely relaxing. So I'm going to lay that down there. Oh, doesn't that look stunning? I think that is absolutely, this die set, oh, once I started using it, I think I've been using it for everything. In the middle of this die, once I punch it out, it comes out with this kind of, I don't know what you kind of call it, butterfly kind of shape. I don't know what it is. I'm going to add a little sentiment in there that I've chosen to say thank you because I send out a lot of thank you cards. I have a lot of people to thank, and I do appreciate everybody that I stamp with. They give me so much joy when I see them stamping and knowing that they can make their own sets. So I'm going to kind of eyeball it in and stamp my thank you on there. Oh, that turned out so good. So good. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to pop up the little thank you, and I'm going to pop this up too. So I'm going to use my dimensionals and put a few on the back. You'll notice that I keep, oh, yes, I've used this paper from, it's the back part of a stamps piece of paper I've used. So, but nobody's going to see it. So don't say anything, okay? I am very frugal sometimes. So I'm going to put that down. Make sure it's all nice. And I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my sentiment. Like I said, the Painted Poppy set, I fell in love with this the moment I saw it. I've been using it constantly. It is my favorite stamp set out of the whole catalog. I have so many, but this is number one. So I'm going to put the sentiment in and maybe just offset a little bit, or just kind of just a little bit. So it adds. Now you'll notice that the bands go a little bit over, so that's okay. I'm going to take my snips and see. You'll never see the piece of paper that I used, and snip the ends off. Oh, isn't that fantastic? Oh, look at that. I'm in love. So now I have them. You can use any color you like. As I mentioned, any color.